Tonight is NXT Battleground, alongside also AEW Double or Nothing. But we start with Battleground, as the predictions for NXT Battleground are going like this. With Gallus defending the NXT World Tag Team titles against the Creed Brothers. It is great to see the Creed Brothers back in the tag team title picture after what feels like ages of them being on the outside looking in. And their feud with the Gallus brothers, or their feud with Gallus, is one of the more hard hitting rivalries in NXT. I mean, honestly, I think this match could go either way, but I mean, I genuinely believe they're probably going to keep the titles on Gallus because of the numbers game. I think the numbers game will be what keeps the titles on Gallus more than anything else. You know, I think that because they have the added bonus of the other Coffee brother at ringside, I think that will keep them in the title picture. And Julius and Brutus may have to wait to get the titles back. The NXT Heritage Cup will be on the line, with Noam Dar defending the title against Dragon Ali. This has been something building since Noam Dar returned to NXT a couple of months ago. And the fact of the matter is, at this point, I don't really know what to expect from the Scottish Supernova. But what I do know is that this could be one of the best matches of the night between two of the most athletically gifted members of the NXT roster in Dragon Ali and Noam Dar. I highly doubt, in my opinion, that Noam Dar loses the NXT Heritage Cup in what is his first defense as Heritage Champion. So I think it is very likely that Noam Dar will find a way to get the victory against Dragon Lee. But the fact of the matter is, you never know with NXT what's going to happen. And I think this is going to be one of those nights where you don't know what's going to happen, and Dragon Lee could pull it out with the Heritage Cup. But I think more than likely, Noam Dar will keep his Heritage title. And speaking of hard-hitting, speaking of potential match of the night, speaking of all that and a bag of chips, it is Dijak Ilya Dragunov in a last man standing match. These two have been tearing each other apart for months on NXT. And the fact of the matter is, who knows what the hell's going to happen when it's a last man standing match between Dragunov and Dijak. And if you ever wanted to see somebody get made in one match, Dijak defeating Dragunov would be a great way to make a superstar in NXT. But also, even in defeat, I think both Dijak and Dragunov have benefited from this rivalry more than any other rivalry in NXT in recent memory, where both men could benefit by the end of it. As both men have Dijak has looked like a freaking killer in his feud with Ilya Dragunov, and Dragunov has looked like honestly, Dragunov has looked like a nut job because of the amount of times he doesn't back down from Dijak and getting his ass kicked by Dijak. So I think this feud has benefited both men. But overall, I think if they wanted to go in a specific direction for the next time around, I think the right way to go is Ilya Dragunov, because Ilya Dragunov has every possibility and all the potential in the world to be the one to challenge Carmelo Hayes next after Braun Breaker. And if you want to sit here and say anything, I think that it should be Carmelo Hayes and somebody like Ilya Dragunov. Even though Dijak would be a viable contender, I think that putting Dijak in the ring with Carmelo Hayes after Carmelo Hayes just fought Braun Breaker would be a mistake because it would be too much of Carmelo versus somebody else who has the same style to Braun Breaker, and you wouldn't want him going against somebody with the that has the same style or a similar style. You would want him going against somebody who is completely different to Braun Breaker as opposed to somebody who is just like him. So I think Dragunov will get the victory. And if you want to talk about somebody who has reinvented the wheel and reinvented his potential and showed how good he can be, it is Mr. Wesley. As Wesley is one of those guys that, frankly, put himself in a position where nobody knew what to expect when his partner got let go. Nobody knew what to expect when his partner got let go. And he has defied every single expectation to the nth degree. He has defied every single expectation to the nth degree, and more. And the fact of the matter is, the only thing I have to say is, it's the same thing as I say with Jade Cargill. Wesley can't hold the belt forever. You have to know who's going to defeat him. And I think both Tyler Bate and Joe Gacy are viable talent to defeat him. You know, that both men are viable talent to defeat him. And I think that if they want to have the dyad become more featured members of NXT, either you have them cost Gacy the North American Championship or you have them help Gacy. Because I think that the right way to go, in my opinion, is you want to make the dyad more viable on NXT, either you lean further into the dyad and further into the schism, or you take them out of the schism and replace them with two other new people. But either way, I think if Wesley does not win the belt, Joe Gacy will leave North American Champion. Tiffany Stratton, Lyra Valkyria for the NXT Women's Championship, the vacated NXT Women's Championship. And honestly, I think just based off of length of stay in NXT and potential, I think Lyra Valkyria is a potential women's champion. But I think tonight is Tiffany Stratton's night to become NXT Women's Champion. And as I mentioned earlier, it's not a potential of when, it's a potential of fact. Carmelo will keep the NXT Championship tonight at Battleground. Yeah.
Did you see my text?
Yeah.
Anything you like?
Not that I need to have. I mean, I don't hate the pieces, but nothing I need to have, no.
Gotcha. And how much did Vic charge you on that Seaver again?
30.
Well, that's how I thought. He wrote down that he charged you 35. That's what I thought. Stupid old bastard tried to jip me out of $5. Son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch. Again, going through it real quick, it is Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes will keep the belt. Tiffany Stratton gets her moment in the sun as NXT Women's Champion. Joe Gacy will win the North American title. Dragunov beats Dijak. Noam Dar keeps the Heritage Cup. And Gallus will remain NXT Tag Team Champions. With that being said, though, that is it for me in the preview of NXT Battleground. Or the preview for NXT Battleground, which is live tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock and the WWE Network outside of the United States. Live from Lowell, Massachusetts, it is NXT Battleground.